All right, so we got Kalanji coming in and out. He should be here in a second, but we got a dope interview coming up that he's got about to take y'all into a whole world of Atlanta that's going on that a lot of people don't know about. A case that's going on that needs to be heard about worldwide, nationwide. We need to support what's going on right here, so we're gonna get right to it. Right after this quick break. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Oop, let me get
Peace.
out of here.
What's going on, brother?
Peace.
How you doing?
What's up? What's up, fam? How you doing, man?
Man, I'm cool, man. On the move real quick. Glad to see you here today. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Appreciate y'all on, man.
Okay, no doubt, no doubt. Welcome to the platform. And who do you have with you today?
I have Arnitra Hollman, the daughter of Deacon Johnny Hollman, who was killed by Atlanta police officer Kyron Kimbrough on August the 10th.
Right on, right on. Okay. We've been hearing about this case. It's a real serious case here in the Atlanta area. I've been trying to get out to some of the protests. Been hearing about, been on the road a little bit, but I want to start off by giving you and the family our condolences. And also, I want you to know that you all are backed by the Black Power Media family and also our organization, the FTP movement. And whenever Attorney Davis needs us on deck, we're here. So I want to start by saying that.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, brother.
Right on.
Appreciate you.
Right on. Forgive me today. I'm in rare form. I usually don't do the cell phone interviews, but I'm moving around a little bit today, so this is what it is. But we'll still make it as effective as possible, I'm sure. I want to start off for our viewing audience. Give us an idea, if you don't mind, Ms. Holloman, on 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 who your family member was, so that we can get a human perspective, because sometimes we just look at things from uh, this is another incident or it's another case, and we don't see it as an actual member of the family. So if you don't mind, give us some background on who we're talking about here.
So we're talking about my father, Mr. Johnny Hollman Sr. He was a chairman of the Deacon board for 15 years. We all grew up in the church. My daddy, he was like a leader in the community. He was a leader in the church. He was like our best friend. He was the patriarch of the family. It was 8 children. He and my other two, my aunt and my uncle, they were like the last three. So everybody else, pretty much had passed away, and my daddy was taken over and put into that role. So it was a lot of people that he cared for in the family, and he was the type of man that he would minister to you, pray with you, whatever you needed. My father, he was always there. So for this to happen and the way it happened, it has left all of us heartbroken. It's left us angry, numb, upset, mad. Like we just all over the place. Emotions are very, very high. But my dad was a very, very good man. His character was, it speaks for itself. Like, and I know people put it out there, try to, these officers try to, taint his character, and put this narrative out there as if he was, belligerent or he was, combative or drunk. But that was not my dad, and that was not the case, on August the 10th.
Right on, right on. So if you and your father was how old, if you don't mind us asking?
62 years old.
62 years old. Okay.
Yes.
Attorney Davis, and let me start out by saying you looking sharp as ever. I've
Man, appreciate you, brother.
been knowing you 20 years, and you about, you look $20 million flyer. So
Appreciate you, bro.
yeah. I want to ask you, like, what exactly took place as far as the understanding from a legal perspective.
Man, this is one of those cases that it highlights what police culture is, right? It's a 23-year-old African American officer encounters a 62-year-old deacon, right, on the street. And the Deacon Hollman had called. It was a minor traffic accident. He called the police. So both he and the other driver called the police. And you know how it is in Atlanta right now in terms of if there's an accident, you have to wait a long time before they even come out. So they waited over an hour. No incidents, no nothing. They're just standing out there waiting for the police to show up so that they can get a determination as to who's at fault. Deacon Hollman thought that the other driver was at fault. The other driver thought he was at fault. But it was no beef. It was just, they just kind of held their position. So when the officer shows up, Deacon Hollman is waiting. And what we were able to do was there was a video, his body cam footage, which they showed the legal team and the family 2 Fridays ago. And so what we saw, because we were wondering, how did a minor traffic accident turn into a fatal police encounter? And so Miss Hollman, Anitra, she was on the phone with her dad because he put it on speakerphone when this interaction was happening. And so she had been telling people, literally telling us, she was telling the public, I heard them kill my father. And so obviously she's not an eyewitness, but an ear witness. She was hearing it. And so when we saw the video, it was as simple as the officer saying, he had come and sign his ticket. And then Deacon Holloman's like, well, wait a minute. It's not my fault. You see what happened? And then the officer escalates, right? And the officer is like, lower your voice to me. Talking to a grown man like he's a little baby. And Deacon Hollman says, man, my voice is just heavy. This is a black man from the South. So he's got a heavy voice. And he said, my voice is just heavy. And he tries to de-escalate it. But the officer continues with, you're going to sign this ticket. And then Deacon Hollman says, can you get a sergeant out here? And then he's like, nah, this is the officer. Deacon Hollman responds, Lord Jesus. To mock him, he comes back and says, oh, you can call your priest, you can call your wife, but you're going to sign this ticket. And so Deacon Hollman is still just, flustered by this and is hesitant. And as the officer steps towards him and says, you're going to sign a ticket, Deacon Hollman says, I'll sign a ticket. And he is reaching and go try to sign the ticket. Officer grabs his arm. And Deacon Hollman repeats, I'll sign the ticket. I'll sign the ticket. Officer does a leg sweep. 62-year-old man takes him to the ground, smashes his face into the asphalt, and then begins to try to rip his arms behind his back, starts tasing him. All the time he's yelling, sign the ticket, after he's already said, I'll sign the ticket. It's the most insane situation that you'll ever see because he's yelling at him, sign the ticket, while he's tasing and handcuffing him. So it was almost this false narrative he was trying to create, like he didn't have his body cam on and people would not be able to see what was actually happening. And so Deacon Hollman is literally, we think as many as 16 times, he's saying, I can't breathe because he had severe asthma. And he said, he told him, my asthma is bothering me. My asthma is bothering me. Then he starts saying, I can't breathe on the ground. Then he just yells for help, man. I mean, it's heartbreaking. Here's an elder in our community. He just yells out, help me. Here's an officer that he called, and now he's yelling for help for somebody to intervene to stop this assault on him. And then, unfortunately, and the family had to leave the room on the video because it was just too much. But and they only showed us 5 minutes of the video, but as they're getting him in handcuffs, he's no longer talking. He's no longer moving at all. And they cuff him. And so the family comes because Ms. Hollman or Nitra hears all of this on that speakerphone. She speeds over there with her brother, and when they get there, they're performing CPR on their dad in the middle of an Atlanta street around the corner from his home. I mean, it's this one here. This is for Atlanta. I really view it as significant as all of the other national cases that people have rallied around. The only question is if will we turn out in that way for this family? And they've organized a march on this Saturday that Anitra can tell you about.
Okay, so I want to start by saying this. First of all, for Anitra and to the listeners, I've been knowing Attorney Davis for the 20 years that I've been in Atlanta. Okay, matter of fact, the first time I met him, and I don't know if you remember this, was 3 weeks after I moved here. We did a press conference together because there was a MARTA driver, a woman who was trying to go to work, and the police snatched her out, beat her down, abused her, so on and so forth, and locked her up. I don't know if you remember that in DeKalb County.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So this was the very first time. I'm 3 weeks here, and we fought on many fronts. You know what I'm saying? And I have to say that just hearing this, and I understand what you just said, Attorney Davis, about this being a case that rivals with any national case. Indeed, this is egregious. This is horrific. You said the 23-year-old officer, was this you said he was an African American?
Yep.
A Negro, a
Mm-hmm.
disrespect. I don't care about the badge, but if you tell me a 23-year-old punk, and that's what I'm saying, will attack a 62-year-old elder. And we've seen a whole lot in our days, but this is I don't even call this a gross misconduct of justice, because he's doing what pigs do, and I'm just gonna say it just like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say it just like that. But to hear this, it infuriates me, and we will definitely, again, we're gonna get behind this case hard body. We're jumping in, feet first, because this right here, this shows you, this is an example of white supremacy in blackface, because folks get it twisted. Yeah, so they think that because you're a certain hue or complexion, that you're going to represent us. And for our listeners, this is important because Atlanta's always looked at as the quote unquote black Mecca.
Yes.
And I have to say that when it comes to the blue, it don't matter the color or the hue. You understand what I'm saying?
Man.
Anitra,
let me just say this piece, and I think is important for people to understand, is that there's in our culture, right, wherever we are, especially in the South, right? I was born and raised in Chicago. My people from Mississippi, from Georgia and Alabama, but here there's a certain level. I mean, I get called Unc, right? I mean, like there's a certain level of you bump into somebody, you see somebody, and these young guys, they're gonna show you some level of respect just out of that's our culture. And
right.
what we've been saying is that the only place that a 23-year-old black man can address and deal with a 62-year-old black man in that way is in the context of policing. That's the only space that would ever happen, because what he's done is he has emptied himself. When he puts on that uniform, he assumes the culture of the blue, and he has rejected our culture, right? He's rejected it. He's not even operating within our cultural mores in the way that we move and our values. And he is fully ingested this culture of policing that says that elder is no longer an elder. He's a combatant. He's an enemy combatant in an occupied territory called our hood. And so we got to be clear about what this police culture is. And this ain't no one bad cop. This is not just a lack of training. We got to dead all of that talk and just be real that the very culture of policing supersedes our culture when they put on the uniform, because they allow themselves to become something other. I call they man, to hear this guy yelling at him, you gonna sign this, while her father is on the ground saying he can't breathe. I describe him as being possessed, right? He's
Yeah, yeah.
possessed with this,
Soulless.
just all the way consumed by white supremacist police culture that says our lives don't matter. And I just wanted to lean in on that, because so often we'll just say, man, it's one cop. And not y'all on Black Power Media, y'all political analysis is different. But I'm saying, for so many of our people, we reduce it to individual acts, and we don't frame it as culture and system that says, Deacon Hollman, you ain't nothing tonight. I don't care if you're a daddy, a granddaddy, a deacon, you're just an enemy combatant, and I'm gonna deal with you as such. So I just wanted to put that out there. Go ahead, Anitra. Please share what's going on Saturday, and
Yes.
what the family's doing.
Okay. So I'm glad you said that, because I have been thinking about that too. I mean, he's young, 23, and he's black. But my dad's oldest grandchild is 30. Like, we would never have allowed them. Even the young guys that live in our community, that's what they call them, dad, or they call them pops. But this Saturday, the 23rd at 12 p.m., we're gonna be at Dean Rest Park. That's 818 Peoples Street, Southwest Atlanta. And it's right like a block or two down from Cunningham, where my dad was killed. We're gonna march from there to City Hall. We're trying to call out as many people as we can. We telling them, bring everybody, bring the family. Um, it's going to we're gonna go there because we're actually demanding the release of the body cam video. We feel like the public needs to see it. We need it to be transparent, because they put this false narrative out there. You told the world that my daddy was combative, he was drunk. You said all these different things about him. And if that's true, then let the world see. But I feel like, they don't want it to come out for whatever reason. But that's that's what the march is for. And that's why we're calling it, because we want the world to see exactly what this APD officer, Karen Kimbrough, did to our father, to our loved one. We're asking the public to come out and rally behind us and to help us, because it may not be you today, but it could be you tomorrow. And I just want people to understand that I've done a lot of marches, and I've rallied around a lot of people, to help in the community. For instance, for situations like this. And this one right here, it was very senseless. And like you said, even with him asking him to sign a ticket, how can he sign a ticket if he's on the ground and he's handcuffed? And again, you still putting out the false narrative as if, he refused to sign the ticket. This wasn't over a refusal to sign a ticket, because he told you clearly he would sign a ticket.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm really calling on the public, to, show up in mass numbers, to walk, to march with us, to sign these petitions, to get it out there, so that the mayor would, come forth and, make the video public so everybody can see it.
Anitra, I don't care. I wouldn't care if your father was drunk and stumbling and talked about this pig's mama. I wouldn't care if he ripped the ticket up into confetti and threw it in the air. This is not. This does not justify what happened to him.
Mm-hmm.
It's unprincipled on so many levels. I mean, it's ancestral treason, it's disrespect to our elders, and it's like, this is one of those times that someone should have took a brick and bust this cop upside his damn head, because
Mm-hmm.
here it is, your father, who is clearly an elder. It's not like, oh, I thought he was a young boy or whatever, so on and so forth. And to your point, and to Attorney Davis's point, we walk these streets of Atlanta, and no matter what hood we in, some of the most gangster kids that we see out here, they respect
Yeah,
when they see us come through. They know the difference. You know what I'm
that's
saying?
right.
But here it is, this lame cop, 23 years old, who is sold his soul, literally soulless. You know what I'm saying? For a badge, had the audacity to not only disrespect him the way he talked to him, But for you to sweep him and put his face on the ground, the nasty ass ground. You understand what I'm saying? And I mean, this is like, and I apologize for the way I speak, to you because you don't know me, but this is like,
it's okay because I be want to speak like that. I be so angry, like I be having to tame my mouth, but I get it.
yeah.
Go ahead.
This is fucked up. That's what I'm gonna say.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Let me just say that live and direct. And this is, my views and opinion don't reflect y'all, but this is how I feel, and this is how the people I come from feel. So we look forward to supporting you all further. I will be in touch with Attorney Davis. Count me in on Saturday. Maoli, please send me whatever information and whatnot.
Yes.
Will assist in putting it out. Anything that's going on, Black Power Media will be there. FTP movement will be there, and we support what it is that's going on. Again, our condolences to you, and this is a platform that you can utilize to push out what's going on and keeping us posted.
Man, we appreciate you all, brother. We appreciate this platform in particular because we're able to have a different kind of political conversation. We don't have to keep explaining the basics over and over again, and people understand the systemic oppression that we are experiencing and how it plays out in the lives of everyday people, man. This one here, though, you're right. You've heard me on a lot of them. He didn't have a taser in his hand running away from police. He wasn't wanted. I mean, none of the other narratives that they've used in the past can they use in this situation. And that's why I think they're hesitant to release this video, because they know it's going to put Atlanta, the cradle of the civil rights movement, front and center. And then we're going to have some hard questions to ask and have answers. So thank you all.
No doubt. And
Thank
this
you.
kind of, and in closing, I'm going to say, Maoli, this reminds me of the Rubens case when he was moving into his own home.
Yep.
And the police slammed him on his head. He was 60-something years old, moving into his own house. And they questioning him, tell him to sit down, then tell him to get up and slam him on his damn head.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? He was 69 at the time. You know what I mean?
Indeed.
So, this is, like you said, this ain't no one bad apple, one bad cop. It ain't none of that. This is the system of policing. Again, we thank you all for coming on today, and we look forward to to helping and assisting with this endeavor.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank
All right,
you.
peace and blessings.
Y'all be safe out here. Remix morning.